Have you ever caught yourself thinking, really listening to that quiet, persistent voice that whispers, "I'm not good enough"? Or maybe it's louder, a more insistent critic declaring, "I always mess things up." These aren't just fleeting, harmless thoughts. They are weapons. Silent, invisible weapons that we, often unknowingly, turn upon ourselves, meticulously shaping our self-worth, chiseling away at our confidence, and ultimately, dictating the landscape of our lives. But here's the truth. You are not alone in this struggle, and more importantly, this pattern is not your destiny. There's a pathway through the noise, a way to disarm those internal narratives that hold us captive. It requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to show up for ourselves in a new, more compassionate way. It's about recognizing that the stories we tell ourselves have immense power, but we in turn have the power to rewrite them. And today, you'll learn how. We're going to walk through this together, step by step. The very first step, and often the most courageous one, is simply to become aware. It's about learning to catch that thought in the act. Think of it like this. For years, maybe decades, this internal narrator has had free rein, speaking its piece without interruption, without question. It's become background noise, so familiar that we often don't even register its presence, much less its impact. So, the initial practice is one of mindful listening, of tuning into that internal dialogue with a newfound curiosity. This means paying attention when that familiar pang of inadequacy arises, or when a wave of self-blame washes over you after a perceived misstep. What's the voice saying in those moments? Is it a specific phrase that repeats itself? Is it a general feeling of not enoughness? Don't judge it, not yet. Just notice. Acknowledge its presence. This act of noticing, of simply observing without immediate engagement or belief, is incredibly powerful. It's like turning on a light in a room you thought was empty, only to find someone has been talking all along. Once you catch a thought, the next crucial move is to label it. Gently, without accusation. Just say to yourself, there it is. This is negative self-talk. Or, that's my inner critic speaking. Or even, that's the "I'm not good enough" story. By naming it, you create a sliver of separation between yourself, the observer, the conscious you, and the thought itself. This separation is vital. It's the space where change can begin to take root, where you realize you are not the thought, but the one who is aware of the thought. This practice isn't about eradicating these thoughts immediately. That's an unrealistic expectation, especially when these patterns are deeply ingrained. Instead, it's about developing a new relationship with them. It's about shifting from unconscious acceptance to conscious observation. Imagine you're standing on a riverbank, and the negative thoughts are like logs floating by. Previously, you might have jumped onto every log, getting carried away by the current. Now you're learning to simply watch them pass, acknowledging their presence without being swept away. This process requires patience and a whole lot of grace. There will be days when you catch dozens of these thoughts, and days when they seem to slip by unnoticed until they've already done their work. That's okay. That's human. It's more like being a compassionate but thorough investigator. So we've learned to catch the thought, to shine a light on that inner critic, and we've started to challenge its pronouncements, asking, is this really true? Now comes the transformative part, the part where we actively begin to rewrite the script. This is chapter 3, Replace with Truth. It's about consciously choosing a different thought, a more accurate, more compassionate, and ultimately more empowering narrative to take the place of the old, worn-out negative one. This isn't about Pollyanna-ish positive thinking that ignores reality. It's not about pretending problems don't exist. Instead, it's about reframing. It's about finding the truth that is often buried beneath the layers of self-criticism and fear. For example, if the old thought is, I'm a failure because I made a mistake, the replacement thought, grounded in truth, might be, I made a mistake and that's okay. I'm human. I'm learning from this experience, and this mistake does not define my worth or my capability. See the difference? It's a profound shift. Let's take another common one. I always mess things up. We've challenged the always, right? So a replacement could be, sometimes things don't go as planned and I'm learning to handle setbacks with more grace. Each experience, even the tough ones, teaches me something valuable. This isn't just a nicer thought, it's often a more accurate reflection of reality. We are all works in progress, constantly learning and evolving. Our language needs to reflect that. The key here is to make the replacement thoughts believable to you. If you jump from, I'm worthless to, I'm the most amazing person in the world, your mind might reject that as too big a leap, too inauthentic. The new thought needs to resonate with a sense of grounded possibility. So, instead of I'm worthless, perhaps a more accessible replacement is, I have inherent worth, just like everyone else, and I'm working on believing that more fully. Or, I'm committed to treating myself with the same kindness I'd offer a friend. This process of replacing harsh thoughts with kind ones is like tending a garden. The negative thoughts are like weeds that have been allowed to grow unchecked for a long time. Catching them is like noticing the weeds. Challenging them is like loosening their roots. Now this next piece is, for many of us, the toughest part of the journey, but it's also where the deepest healing and truest connection to ourselves can be found. It's chapter 4. Practice self-compassion. It's about understanding at a fundamental level that you're human, and because you're human, you will make mistakes. You will have flaws. You will experience setbacks. And through all of it, the invitation is to be gentle with yourself. Self-compassion is not self-pity. It's not about wallowing in our misfortunes or making excuses for ourselves. Dr. Kristin Neff, a pioneering researcher in this field, defines self-compassion as having 3 core components: self-kindness versus self-judgment, a sense of common humanity versus isolation, and mindfulness versus over-identification with thoughts and feelings. It's about treating ourselves with the same understanding, kindness, and support we would offer to a good friend who was struggling. Think about that for a moment. When a friend messes up or is going through a hard time, what's your typical response? Do you berate them, call them names, tell them they're worthless? Probably not. More likely you offer a listening ear, words of comfort, and a reminder that they're not alone. Self-compassion is about turning that same lens of kindness inward. It's about recognizing your own suffering, your own struggles, and responding with warmth and care. A huge barrier to self-compassion is the pervasive myth of perfection. We live in a culture that often glorifies flawlessness, that pressures us to have it all together all the time. But perfection is an illusion. It's an unattainable standard that sets us up for constant self-criticism. The truth is, imperfection is an inherent part of the human experience. It's what connects us. When we can embrace our imperfections, we open the door to greater authenticity and deeper connection, both with ourselves and with others. Practicing self-compassion means acknowledging your pain without letting it consume you. It's saying, this is really hard right now, or I'm feeling really disappointed in myself, and then, instead of piling on more criticism, offering yourself a gesture of comfort. Maybe it's placing a hand on your heart, speaking a few kind words to yourself, or simply taking a few deep, calming breaths. It's about soothing yourself in moments of distress, just as you would soothe a loved one. The common humanity piece is so crucial. When we're struggling, our tendency is often to feel isolated, to believe that we're the only ones who feel this way, the only ones who make these kinds of mistakes. We've journeyed through catching our negative thoughts, challenging their validity, replacing them with kinder truths, and embracing the profound practice of self-compassion. Our final chapter in this initial leg of transforming our mindset is about proactive cultivation, daily affirmations. This is about intentionally starting your day, and perhaps revisiting throughout your day, with words that empower, that reinforce your worth, and that align you with the person you are choosing to become. Now, I know affirmations sometimes get a bit of a mixed reputation. Some might see them as simplistic or disconnected from reality. But when affirmations are rooted in the truths we've uncovered about ourselves, our inherent worth, our capacity for growth, our resilience, they become powerful tools. They are not about pretending to be someone you're not. They're about reminding yourself of the truth of who you are, especially when the old negative programming tries to resurface. Think of affirmations as planting seeds in the garden of your mind. We've been working on pulling out the weeds of negative self-talk. Now, we're consciously planting seeds of confidence, peace, and capability. Just like with a real garden, these seeds need consistent tending. A one-time affirmation is unlikely to create lasting change, but a daily practice repeated with intention and belief can begin to reshape your internal landscape over time. So, what makes a good affirmation in this context? It should be personal, positive, and phrased in the present tense as if it's already true. For example, instead of, "I will be confident," which places it in the future, try, "I am growing in confidence every day," or simply, "I am confident." The phrase "I am enough" is a wonderfully powerful and simple affirmation that counters so many of the not good enough narratives we battle. Some other examples that resonate with the work we're doing here could be, "I choose peace over perfection. I am learning and growing every day. I treat myself with kindness and understanding. I am resilient and capable of handling challenges. My worth is inherent and unchanging." Find phrases that speak to the specific negative beliefs you're working to transform. Make them your own. The best time to practice affirmations is often in the morning before the noise of the day fully sets in, and perhaps again in the evening before sleep. This helps to frame your day with positive intent and to settle your mind with reassuring truths. You can say them out loud, looking at yourself in the mirror, which can be incredibly powerful, albeit sometimes uncomfortable at first. You can write them down in a journal. You can even record yourself saying them and listen back. As we draw our time together to a close for today, I want you to hold on to this. The work of transforming negative self-talk is not a one-time event, but a lifelong practice, a journey of returning again and again to kindness and truth. Remember, you are not your thoughts. This is such a fundamental shift. You are the one who hears them, the conscious, aware presence that can observe them without being defined by them. And because of that, you have the power, you truly do, to rewrite your story, to choose a different narrative. Every single time you catch a harsh inner voice and choose to respond with understanding, every time you speak kindly to yourself, especially when it's hard, you plant a seed of confidence. You water the garden of your own worthiness. These small, consistent acts of self-compassion and truth-telling accumulate, building a foundation of inner strength and resilience that can weather any storm. It's about recognizing that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one with yourself, and it deserves to be nurtured with intention and care. Thank you for showing up for yourself today.